have both of them. Who needs P and G?
So I don't,
Because you're sitting in the wrong desk.
no, I'm in my, no, this
Because
is
she
Pete.
switched it.
No, I didn't, that was
You
Pete.
switched SK. Here.
Oh, we switched this camera.
You got both of them, you don't have either of them.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'll just remove Pete.
And here's
I
the
guess
thing.
we're gonna get the acting finance committee chair.
This one, I think
Okay, yeah, Mike, we're ready to go.
All right. Okay.
Robert,
Call to order for the Finance Committee. Number 8, 6:05. Pete? Here.
No public comments.
Director's comments?
No, the only, we did the point, the budget was approved
Last Monday on July 1st.
One of the interesting points was, if I heard correctly at the meeting, the total levy for the village is 24 million, and we make up 2 million of that. So about, about 10%. The total appropriation for the village is in the low 40 million, 42 or 43 million. So, I find that interesting. The piece for us to look at is the tax levy. In a municipality, you kind of set up funds to pay for certain things. For us, general fund is paying for all the library expenses, the salaries and so forth. In the municipality world, he's probably segmenting that for public works, all the infrastructure out of general fund. And the rest of the remaining appropriation dollars that they receive pay for different things within the village. So it's important to remember that number at 20, that we represent 10% of the total tax levy. Okay? So in the package, because the budget was approved on the first, we can now approve our secretary's certificate and the village tax levy. And there has a separate, for you to sign Alice for it, and for Chris to sign it. Okay? It's, the difference between the two, what's wrong? The difference between the previous one and this one is, we went back to the village, as I noted at the last board meeting, for $59,000 more to satisfy the increased costs in Blue Cross Blue Shield, the medical insurance. So that's the reason that the numbers changed. In the past, we probably, out of place, approved our budget. We shouldn't do it until after the village approves the ordinance. So this is why we're here today. So I provided you again a copy of the numbers, and then the secretary's certificate, and the village tax levy number.
Who's the point? Anything to know about that?
No, everything's basically the same, except the medical insurance was the one number that changed. Everything else we've gone through. We represent, I think it was like 12%, we got to go 12%. Well, you can see the difference. We went from 2,184,000 appropriation up to 2,772,000. And included in it as the appropriation for a grant fund for 2024 on the legislative branch. We have not heard anything yet on. We received the check for this year for the per capita fund. I received that check today, $36,000 and change. And we're waiting for the money for H options. And then we're still waiting to hear our request on the P&G funding. Springfield somewhat goes on a shutdown in a couple of weeks, so maybe we go into the September timeframe and hearing that, maybe sooner, but they are working the next couple of weeks. Any questions?
Chair Pascal, you going to take over? We can just start with the motion on B.
Yep. Motion on B, secretary certificate. Accept.
Excellent.
You moved it? You're moving?
I'll second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, ayes have it. And let, C, the 2024 village tax levy. Mike, you have that?
No, that's what I just explained, everything. It just reflects the same number.
Right. Motion to accept as presented.
I'll make the motion to accept it. I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. All
No,
those-
that one you probably got a roll call. Money?
Okay. Anyone want to call?
Pete?
Yeah.
Alice, yes. Marissa? Yes. Motion carries.
Awesome. Anything under new business?
Nothing that I have at this time.
Looks like. Motion to adjourn.
Make the motion?
Second?
I'll second.
Awesome. Consider ourselves adjourned.
Okay, call to order for bylaw, goals, policy, and personnel meetings on July 8th at 6:35. Roll call. Alice here. Trustee Santangelo.
Here.
Trustee Monahan.
Here.
We have a quorum. We also have Trustee Narayan, Trustee Fosco, and Trustee Pesco. Okay. Any public comments?
None.
All right. Unfinished business. Do I have a motion to approve the May and June committee minutes as presented in the committee packet?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
You can second it if you want.
I'll second. Any discussion?
I would just ask if we can consider moving H, the meeting room policy, back to the committee level just to review it.
It's just
One
on the
more-
minutes.
Yeah, this one's
It's just on the
minutes.
minutes.
Oh, I'm
It's
sorry.
just a motion.
Well,
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were doing all.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Okay, 3D printer use policy. Do I have a motion to send out of committee pending review items B through K under unfinished business?
Yeah, so for anyone who would like to know an update, I've been working my way through the policies that were given to me by the director after last month's meeting. I anticipate that I'll probably be able to finish all of the review of all of the policies by about end of next week. The suggestion would be, since they were tabled at the last meeting, that they could be advanced pending the conclusion of legal review, if you would like to, and any that you wish to discuss further at committee level can be held back.
Okay. So I'm sorry, what did you say?
So I need a motion to send out of this committee pending review items B through K.
All right, I'll make the motion.
Okay, I will second it. All in favor?
No, no, you do.
And then,
Is that-
I'm sorry, discussion?
sorry, I jumped the gun before. I would move to advance all the B through K, just excluding H, the meeting room policy. Because we had talked about that one a little bit more in depth about other changes. I'd just like to review it at the committee level before advancing it to the full board, even if it's later that evening.
So that's considered a motion to amend the original motion. Is there a second on trustee Monahan's motion to amend?
No, yeah, it's up to you guys if you guys want to do it. Can we talk about the adjustments that we talked about last meeting? 'Cause I think I have those.
Yeah, I just remember some discussion about the, concerns about what is a library sponsored, what's not, what's,
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
excluded. I want to make sure, I just want to
But yeah, I want to make sure.
see
she
it.
gets-
I want her to see it, but then I want us to see it
Yeah.
again.
Well, we'll see it in the full board meeting when we review it.
No, but that
Yeah.
was a point, and that was an important point, because what's funny, something came up this last week or so, and we definitely need to clarify that policy, the meeting room.
So the,
Oh, so the types of meeting you're saying?
Yeah, the types of meeting, and I wish I could remember.
so I had here that under inclusions, that we were looking to put, no group can mention support of the library without express written consent. Something to the effect of, and this would be for you, right?
Yeah, and let me also clarify, support of the library in
This is last
the,
month's.
in the sense that the library would be endorsing them. So they
Correct.
can't claim,
Sponsored.
they can't claim the sponsorship or the endorsement
That's correct.
of the library without written consent. Not expressing support for the library.
Mhm.
Correct, and I thought we had, when we discussed it, we were talking about putting that under inclusions, as a section under inclusions, but get the right legal verbiage.
Mhm.
And then, there was also, on the appeals process,
Oh, that's,
they had a note that should we call out or say a special meeting can be convened in cases where timing will be impacted by a scheduled meeting approving an appeal.
this is fine, man.
So special meeting, you would need only 48 hours notice to
Mhm.
call, in the event that time is of the essence.
So the motion could still go, and she can make those changes, and then in the regular board meeting during that discussion section, we can discuss it then as well.
Okay, so,
If you want to provide any additional direction, I'm absolutely open to that.
Yeah, sure.
okay, so the motion stands?
Well,
Yeah.
since trustee Monahan has asked to modify the original motion, figure out if there's a second for that amendment, and vote on that, and then,
Well, the motion is on the table to accept B through K, right?
right, but then trustee Monahan made a suggestion of an amendment to that motion, which functions as a motion to amend
But
the
he didn't make the
original.
motion. Somebody else made the motion. They would have to adjust their motion. There's a current motion on the table for that.
Right. Well, but he suggested it's, yeah, so whoever.
So
made the
it'd be up for
original
her to
motion
amend it
would-
and her to second it.
Right, would you consider?
Or
amendment
you
of your
leave it,
initial motion?
or you leave it, and then it goes to the regular board.
Right,
You make your changes, and it all stays the same.
So we discuss it at the regular board meeting.
And it'll be tabled at the regular board meeting too until she makes the legal changes. And then we can discuss it at the regular board meeting. It's out of committee by then.
right. That's the question, is whether you want to amend your original motion to trustee Monahan's suggestion that you hold this one back in the BGPC committee, or whether you want to advance everything forward, but still pending legal review. That's not complete yet.
I mean,
In my case for saying to do it at committee is I think we usually have a little bit more time to have a discussion. If we're presenting them all as just ready to be approved, we can present them all at the regular meeting and say we approve, whatever it is at that point, if it's B through K, plus any.
Yeah, we can always amend it in the regular meeting too.
yeah, we can always amend it in the regular meeting, right?
Yes,
All right, so let's just go forward. You're gonna look
So
at
you're
them.
not
again.
amending your motion?
No, I'm not amending, but you're gonna look at them anyway, right?
yes,
Right.
I'm already in the process of looking at all of the feedback that you gave me last time, with comparing it and trying to edit the policies that the director provided.
Okay,
Yeah.
so by next month, they could still, okay.
Yes, anticipate you'll have everything by then.
But I mean, there'll be maybe more changes and things.
There may be more, and there may be changes where, obviously, like,
Clarification.
well, right, so there's, again, there's gonna be verbiage about in the appeals process, because the direction that I received was the appeals process will contemplate calling a special meeting where time is of the essence, right? You may have input on how that looks, once you actually see what I've put on the paper. You may have a different idea of, it may have the same effect or same intent, but you may not like how it's phrased. You may not want to guarantee anything on your behalf. So it'll still be a working draft is my anticipation, because I'm just taking like the direction, and just trying to recraft it into something that I feel matches the direction I was given.
Okay.
All right, so all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion passed. Now, under new business, this is for discussion, the review of the 2024-26 summary strategic plan. Any discussion?
It's included in your book?
You had it for like 3 meetings, right?
Yeah.
So,
And included in there is a mission and vision, which we need to agree on any changes.
I thought it sounded fine.
discussion?
Here's the strategic plan.
Now, this will be posted on our website.
Okay. Which goes on. This is the whole thing.
It's
Okay.
a
then-
color, it looks
yeah,
like this.
Yeah, and then you're gonna put it on the website.
Right.
Right there, this is the.
And then I have a detailed one that I will be using with staff to go through.
Right, where you have the mission,
Yeah.
mission and vision.
All right, in greater detail.
Any more discussion?
Any other discussion on that? Okay, the next item would be a discussion for the 25 Elmwood Park Public Library Board Calendar. Any changes, discussion on that?
Just the first two meetings are gonna be the first Monday of the month. And afterwards, it'll be the second Monday of the month.
So in other words, January, February.
Right, January and February.
Because of the holiday.
Yeah.
January 6th is far enough. That's past the holiday enough. February 3rd. No, that's going.
The next is review of the 2024-25 goals and objectives.
Okay, this was requested last month by the president for me to write goals and objectives, which tie into the, into the strategic plan. This will be reviewed and handed out to each staff member.
Okay.
Any other discussion on that?
I think they were all proper and good. I think Dutch did a great job putting it together. And they're still even, they can still have other goals other than the
Oh,
ones
yeah.
on
This is
here.
from last.
Well,
But they align to these.
right, and I will, that will come up when we further down what we're going on right now. Okay.
Anything else? Next for discussion is review of the hiring policy.
Okay, this is a new policy. We've never had one that I know of.
Does this limit us into how we do things? I mean,
No,
because we have
it-
a policy?
No, I don't think it limits us because the important thing is that we've identified the professional networks that we were gonna look at for, full-time employees. And it gives us the, on the part-time, and how we're gonna do the part-time.
One thing that caught my eye was number 3 of the screening. The library's HR department or hiring committee reviews applications. Is that,
That's me. I mean, I left it at that, hoping that I don't have to change it next year when we might have an HR
okay.
department. You know, I wasn't consistent on that, but, you know what, these policies have to be updated within every 2 years. And this policy is a separate policy that will not be in the, employee handbook. So, I mean, I could make that note to switch it over, I mean, or I could just put both.
That's fine.
No, I think it's fine how it is. It was just,
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you about
Right.
clarification.
I do have employees say that I would like to talk to HR, Mike,
Mm-hmm.
when they want to talk to me about an HR plan.
So right now, you just put your HR hat on.
Yeah, yeah. So this policy we will bring to committee for, I wanted to give you a heads up on this one to review, and then, I guess now I could forward you this policy in the package too?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And one question, I have, 2 policies here for the committee as homework. I can, even though it's not identified in the agenda, I can give it to them after the meeting. But we can't discuss it.
No, you can discuss anything. You can't take action on anything that's on the agenda. So
Okay.
if you wanna hand them out and discuss them, that's fine.
Okay.
For those.
But once we get through, we'll do it once we go through the list, then I'll hold on to that.
Are these all?
This
Well,
is
here.
one packet. No,
there's
there's
two different
So
ones.
just so you're.
Here's a hostile workplace.
Yeah, and then there's personnel
And then
We
related.
have hostile and personnel.
Okay, here, this is an extra copy. Right, you have two, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But we have the evaluation form next.
Yeah, there's two of them here, but pass both over. Pass both over, Al.
Hostile.
Personnel, hostile,
workplace.
personnel.
That's one of
This is
each.
an extra one. There's an extra one.
Yeah.
All right, next for discussion, review of the employee self-evaluation form.
And this goes back to what President Pesco just had asked about. The employees have all completed this, and now what's happening is the next step from this, tomorrow, the department heads are reviewing it, and it ties into the next form of the annual performance evaluation. So the plan is that I'm going to summarize everything on the goals portion of the self-evaluation form. And then that'll be added to our goals and objectives. There'll be a more defined or a lower level of goals that we'll have, and that'll be tied into a report card.
And they didn't have that before, right?
No,
No, this is
No.
awesome.
no, they had self-evaluation form, but what I had read that it didn't really get into self-evaluation. It gave it would go off on tangents. I'll leave it at that. But the evaluation process was very minimum, and that's why I've expanded on it. And I've always felt in the past that everything is not equal. As you can see, customer service I have is 20% communication, 5% teamwork, and so on. The important one that I'm really pushing is, so they have a complete understanding, is completion of tasks from supervision. That's an important one. So there should be no misunderstanding of how each employee sees how they're going to be rated on. And also, it all ties into our goals and objectives as an organization, as a library. And in the back of it, you'll see the scoring matrix on how we calculate it all out. And it's understood that this evaluation will be done in early January and completed prior to the budget being completed. So the salaries that are going to be needed to support any increases will be in the budget already.
Can I be recognized, Madam Chair? Can I be recognized?
Yes?
So I see E and F as something that is more informational for us.
Right, it's more informational for
Because
you.
it's up to you to manage the staff how you
Right.
see fit.
Right.
So, but I do like the form, and I did check the math on the end of the form for the
Yeah, right.
calculation. It does add up. If you go threes, it all comes up to 60, so good job on that.
Well, you know what, the reason that I have it on here, and I'll be honest with you, and I do it with staff too, I'm looking at this one way with my discipline. Each of you come with a different discipline. You might see something that I don't see.
Yeah.
And that's the important thing. I don't want to miss out on something or overstate something. So I look for input.
So you're suggesting any of us, if you have input on this form, if
Yeah,
you got
good.
suggestions, to
Yeah,
feel
just
free
come
to-
back, just come back to me. I am open to that.
Okay. I thought so. Timing for them, you said you want to do it in January?
The January, right, the evaluation process is going on now. Excuse me, on how, the self-evaluation is completed, and we're just gonna put the goals that they come on a self-evaluation in this annual performance evaluation.
Okay, and then so they'll actually get rated in January.
Right, rated in
Does that give you
January.
enough time to collate all that for the
Yeah.
entire staff to be able to put something in the budget?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
because if you need to move it up to like November or something like that.
No, we should be okay.
Okay.
We should be okay.
Yeah, I just want to echo what Chris said, that this is all informational for us, and I appreciate that
Right.
you shared it here and looking for suggestions.
There's
I'll-
a method of
I mean,
the madness.
yeah.
And, again, you might see something, you know, that's the important thing.
So this is like a mid-year kind of review?
No,
then,
no,
when
no.
If they do the self-evaluation?
No,
as of now?
we've been a little bit behind on this, and we should have had. Well, with the changing of the workforce, nobody's been here a year, so how could you evaluate somebody after a month?
Mhm.
In fact, on that subject, Friday we're declaring our first anniversary here at the library, and we're having a pool party across the street, and you're all invited at 5 o'clock. Yeah, the staff hasn't been here long enough, and they have a right to know how they're going to be rated on the following year. Our attrition is down. We've only lost a couple employees
And that was due to reorg.
due to reorg and choice. So things are moving along, but the metric is 2 and 3 years, as we know how quickly people change jobs for more money, but we've gotten salaries up. So hopefully people will stay here longer. But it's the next thing that we really need to work on as a team. I just started the process, and this is the survey that we're going to do at the Taste of Elmwood Park and other events. So this is I started it. We're going to do it in pencil and paper because they don't like putting it in the computer. But we're going to use SurveyMonkey to tabulate all the data and see what it is. But this is where I need your input on questions. Do we want to, more than 12? Do we want 10 or what? How do, what's, if you could tell me what's the outcome we want from this, then we could streamline the questions that way. What are we looking to get to? I mean, theoretically, what we've said in the past, and President will inform me, is we really want to get people that aren't coming to the library. We've done a pretty good job focusing on them now. How do we get people coming in the library? Well, we're more involved with the community than ever. So that's one way. The survey, the way this thing is geared, yeah, it'll point out that we're not reaching out to X amount of people. But still, I think the best way is getting involved in all of the community and all the programs. And we've seen a big push on it because everything is the parade, all events in the village have been
Taste.
outstanding, and they've included us in everything, which is really nice. I mean, we were even able to ride the Charlie car this year. So they're treating us now as we are a part of the village, and it's really nice to see that. But you know what? Take a look at it, email me any questions or anything, or come in and talk to me on any questions. I know we should be able to add a few more. And right now, the way this is, it won't take that long to fill out. So we can add a few questions to focus on. Because you know what? I've looked at 5 different surveys, and we know how this is going to come out, what they want to look at. So,
Mike, if I can just give you a couple suggestions I had, 'cause I looked at it. I can email you too, but
yeah, email
I think
me.
a good one for the where do you live. So we have, Elmwood Park, Chicago, River
Yeah.
Grove. And maybe it's a separate question, or you reword that one. But I think it would be really helpful for us to know if they live on like the north side of town, the south side. Maybe like make quadrants of the village with a map, so we
That's
find
a
out
good
like
point. That was one of the hardest categories for me because I didn't want to have. I think last year we had 8 categories, so I somewhat. You know what? We can do that. I wanted to know Chicago. I wanted to know River Grove. That was the important thing. So I could define it to change Elmwood Park, north side, south side.
What's the goal? What are we
'cause
trying to
I
solve
think if
for?
we're trying to solve, what are we trying to learn from this survey? If you can pull out the results and find that people on the south side of town come to the library, or like use ebooks or something more. People on the north side come and use the space at the library. You know, we want to just figure out like, what, for outreach things, like what are people using the library for?
I think
You know,
we
the more
could
we can
pull
figure,
that
you know, the
thing-
same kind of thing where like if age, if you find out people that are 18 to 25 that live on the north side are coming to the building, they may be like walking over here and it's easier, and we find that out. You know, just an example, just kind of.
Yeah, when you look at
The more
it
you know, the
that
better.
way,
The better you're served, right?
because I think we have available the data to tell us by address who's coming here, but we don't know the age.
Yeah.
We don't know the age.
Mhm. You can kind
No,
of
that's-
create like a customer profile saying that it's
Yeah.
people of this age are doing this
Yeah.
at these days of the week.
Mhm.
So, Madam Chair, even though I already answered my, already recognized. All right, so, a couple things I was thinking, question 6, maybe add gaming center or whatever we want to call a game room.
Yeah, yeah. I can't believe I missed that.
And the same with question 5. Kind of out of order, I gotta switch over again.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so I look at this as not only chance to survey, but a chance to market, right? Because we're gonna
Correct.
have a, captive audience.
Right.
Even though they're gonna have all the information at the table,
Mhm.
like at the taste and all that. But maybe a question
it's
that
public
says,
service.
have you attended one of these programs? And list them out, because then they might go, hey, I didn't know you had a trivia night every Wednesday. Or
Yeah.
I didn't know you had the gaming center, I didn't know you had this.
You know what?
And with that, I would say, why or why not? You know,
Well,
Yeah. They have
what-
time
What's
to-
stopping you from
Yeah.
attending that?
what would be ideal? And Chris, if you could answer this, there are generators there. Can we set up a monitor that big to show the programs and everything going on at the library?
Yes, that wouldn't be a problem. At the tape?
I think someone's wanting to come in.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can come in.
Oh,
Okay.
We're talking about the taste, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can, there can be something set up. That's not a
Yeah.
problem. Just give me enough advance notice so we can make the request.
That would be nice. Yeah, I'll talk to Mrs. Biancalana about that, because I know that the generator was behind us last year. So, Francesco, was the generator almost right behind us last year for,
The taste. So she doesn't want to sit by the
So you're
generator.
gonna go back to paper, the iPads didn't work? The iPads didn't work well?
Basically,
No.
she doesn't want
No?
the generator.
no, it didn't, because they wanted, it was hot, they
Find a
wanted to
different
get it
place.
done, and it took them too long, because, you're doing it like this on the table, they're
Yeah.
uncomfortable, so they would rather do it by pencil and paper, and then we'll put them in SurveyMonkey. But we'll see if we could put something together. Chris and I and the team will work on that.
So you need a
one.
fan,
Have you
right?
thought about doing both? Because younger kids probably prefer just,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, we could still do both. We could have a monitor. We could still do it the same way.
I think you should have. I mean, I would suggest you have both. I would
Yeah.
pass on paper and pencil.
iPads.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
Yeah, mister.
we just hope that the rain, those mist is not coming from
Above.
rain.
Yeah.
Right.
And keep the electronics away.
All right, we'll do it both ways. Since we have to use SurveyMonkey, there's no reason why we can't do the iPads. And I think we have. Chris, are we updated on iPads? Did we get a couple recently? We only need 2. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Any other suggestions before you take it home and come up with something? Even take a look at and example questions 8 through 11. Do we want to go very satisfied, satisfied, neutral, dissatisfied, very dissatisfied? We could even look at that. Any suggestions there? I am open to it. I think we probably should, in the demographic information, come up with 2 more questions. Try to define the demographics of the people that we're here with.
Load it into ChatGPT, they could probably come up with some like whimsical ones or something that are
Yeah,
less rigid.
and you know what? I will check in with you when we're final with the questions and run them all by you, just to make sure that we're okay with the questions,
Maybe.
even
when
on
was-
offensive.
Maybe when was the last time you used the library services?
Oh, you mean like, was it last month or last year?
Well, I have that on there. Question 3 is, how often do you visit the library? Daily, weekly, monthly, a few times a year, rarely, never,
Oh, okay.
you know?
That's,
Could do a 3B. When was the last time you visited?
Yeah, she wants to.
Yeah, when was the last time you visited?
Mike, I don't remember. Do we have like the emails you could sign up for?
What
Do we have? Does the library send out emails to patrons?
to,
Like
Email
an
blast?
email newsletter, email blast?
Yes, yeah, I get the email newsletter.
I owe a book.
I think we
Send
should
me a-
always, then whenever you have if you're ever getting somebody's information, you should always have a line, sign up for the e-newsletter.
Yeah, we do have that. And, you know what, we will have the survey, once we agree on the questions, we will put it on our website and in social media and look for it. No, go ahead, Francesca.
Because I get emails like your book is ready to be picked up, or your book is due, or you signed up for this program, and yeah.
But I mean different things like, the library's planning a sock hop in September. Sign up
Yeah.
now before
Well, I
it's
get
too
the
late.
newsletter.
That
I
kind
get
of
the
thing.
newsletter. They
The
send me
paper one.
No, I get it on my email.
Oh, okay.
All right, and remember, there are questions on the back. We go to 16 on the back, the last page. So, do you find it easy to access and use the library's digital resources? That's an important question. And of course, how can the library better serve the community? And of course, the standard question, would you recommend the library to others?
Okay.
But anything you could come up with, forward it to me, and I will add it to this package.
I think if you make it too big, people will.
Yeah, you
Get
can't have too
overwhelmed.
many questions
Yeah, I
either.
know.
You get
I
to
know.
question number 10 and it's like, whatever, I want to go party.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. Yeah,
You're thirsty.
sometimes you
But
got to be careful. You don't
There's
want.
prizes involved, there's a little token.
Okay.
and-
I'm just saying that,
fan
like
and
Alice
things
says, you
like that,
can't have
right.
like 30 questions,
Right.
because then somebody will say,
But
"Oh,
You
I'm going
could
to be."
you could explain to them how it was last year with the questions. People were pretty friendly. I mean, we had over 232.
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
Yeah, we had some good responses.
Okay.
It's a cool wheel.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with the staff, we're really gearing up for that event.
Okay.
Because we're going to use it for many different things.
Yeah.
So, and you know what? Maybe one of the questions we could get into, and I just thought it was more something on the cultural side. And that would be okay asking. I mean, I'm not offending anybody if we ask more. Oh, I could ask just basically a question: would you like to see more cultural events at the library?
That would be fine.
Yeah.
I think that's probably open to many
Interpretation.
interpretations, though. I don't think there's a definition of that.
Right.
Are you talking about somebody's like ethnicity or like?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
You can ask something specific, like, would you like programming in specific language? Versus asking someone like a
Well, we do offer multiple languages already.
You could put that on the marketing section, right?
Yeah.
Have you
That's
attended a
just an
multi-language
example.
class?
Well,
No, she's
Yeah.
just using that as an
I'm just
example.
using that
Yeah,
as an
yeah.
example.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now,
good suggestion.
This survey, maybe we can make it in different language.
Survey Monkey probably has the ability.
We have.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like in Polish and
Right, right.
Spanish?
The flyers are.
Because the newsletter's in Polish and Spanish, right?
Yeah. No, we'll make this, and the newsletter is not, we're gonna have the capability soon enough. We got a piece of equipment that we ordered. It's gonna give us the capability for translations.
Okay.
And sending faxes and scanning and, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I know I saw
Let us not
someplace.
forget. Okay.
Anything else for this meeting?
You want to discuss these, or this is just a
Yeah,
look at?
I
whether-
wanted to give you some reasoning on it. Thank you, Trustee Monahan. A couple things that we didn't have. Well, there's a lot of things that aren't included in our employee manual, and these are the two most important these days. And there's a lot more involved in it that I do have it. I mean, but this is hostile workplace is the first one I wanted. I have a lot of things on discrimination and so forth, but this subject is brand new, and I have it in that book. But this is what I've written so far. If you could review it, and then of course, it's tabled for the next meeting. And then something else that's important, seems to be more important these days than in the past, is to make sure that the employees understand the purpose of personal relationships in the workplace. Again, this just identifies to protect everyone involved in the library, and that's the purpose of this one. And there are a few more that I'm getting into that I'll review with you. But these three, including the hiring, are the important ones that I would like to see added and included and reviewed. And I might have a few more.
Okay.
Like I said before, the employee handbook will be in greater detail than ever, and it's going to be reviewed much more than it has been in the past. People come in, they read it, but do they really read 35 pages? Now it's going to be 60 pages, but the forms for them will be in there. They'll be required to initial and sign it. I probably have them go through it every 6 months, because now state mandate, which we set up recently, is sexual harassment training in the workplace, and the state offers it. So there are classes for that, and we're required to do them annually. And there'll be a few more things like this. This one's nice because we don't have to pay for it. It's handled by the Secretary of State, but there are requirements that businesses, both libraries and municipalities, have to make sure they adhere to regarding employees. So I'm trying to touch all the bases that I can.
Yeah, I know.
So I think generally with
Believe me, I was there.
yeah, I think with the policies that we've had in the past, we're almost caught up. I think we got maybe 5 or 6 more that have to be done, but I think we knocked out the important ones. And these are important to me. So please review them and offer any suggestions.
Okay, I'll read them at home.
But everything will be written in this format. I just want everybody to get used to it. More bullet points instead of paragraphs. It's easier to comprehend.
Okay.
Okay? That's all I have.
Anything
Motion
else?
to adjourn.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I will second.
Definitely wasn't Sound of Music.
You never saw Sound of Music
No,
either?
I
So-
have, I said, but that isn't what I was gonna watch over and over again.
Okay, let's get started.
Hi.
You rolling, Chris?
Chris, ready?
Awesome. All right, let's get started for the Elm Park Public Library meeting of the Board of Trustees for July 8th, 2024 at 7:30 PM sharp. So could you please call the roll, Madam Secretary?
Trustee Monahan,
Here?
trustee Gordon, trustee Naran. Here. Trustee Santangelo.
Here.
Trustee Belundas here. Trustee Fosco,
Here,
trustee Pesco.
Here.
Four.
Awesome. Account balances as of July 2nd, 2024 in our general fund wind trust bank account is $624.66. The gift fund balance is at $16,649.50. That's also as of July 2nd and July 2nd. The total building fund stands at $126,426.71. The total cash balance in our accounts is $766,701.07. And then also as of July 2nd, the general fund year-to-date expenditures for fiscal year 24 to 25 are $419,565.10. On our consent agenda tonight are the approval of the June 2024 board meeting minutes, the approval of the payroll for July 2024. We also have the medical insurance for August 2024, as well as the acknowledgement of the treasurer's report, the approval of the IMRF check for July 2024, and the approval of the general fund disbursements also for July 2024. Do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented tonight?
I'll make the motion.
I'll
Motion by
second.
trustee Santangelo, seconded by trustee Belundis. Note. Any discussion? I do have one adjustment to the meeting minutes. We need to have, for the June meeting minutes, we need to have the roll call vote called out on the meeting minutes. So that is on the, down here, just give me a second. For the BGPP motion for hiring the part-time circulation shelver, we need to show that as a roll call vote. The hiring of the summer intern, show that as a roll call vote. Easy, everybody voted. And then
Okay.
the Friday hours needs to be shown as a roll call vote as well. So trustee Santangelo, are you okay with the amended motion for the adjustment of the minutes as described?
Yes.
Trustee Belendis, are you okay with the second?
Yes.
Any other discussion on the consent agenda?
I just had a quick question regarding the payroll, just for clarification. What is 75 hours per pay period?
Yeah.
The usual? So is there overtime?
Usual,
Yeah.
yeah.
And is there is there a
1950.
different overtime rate?
Over 40 hours,
It's over 40 now.
40
more than
hours.
75. Okay.
right.
All right. Anything else on the consent agenda? All right. Madam Secretary, will you call the question?
Trustee Monahan,
Yes.
trustee Naran. Yes. Trustee Santangelo,
Yes.
trustee Belundas, yes. Trustee Fosco,
yes.
trustee Pesco.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
All right. No correspondence tonight, Madam Secretary?
No.
All right. Moving on. Public participation. Is anybody on the sheet?
No. Anybody want to come up?
Anybody on the sheet? Okay. Cool. Thank you. Being there no public participation, on to the director's report. Just for everybody's knowledge, this is really meant to be a one-way report from the director to the trustees. So it was such today. He sent it out. If you have questions on the report, I really encourage you to talk to him before the meeting or after the meeting about his report. But anything you want to highlight on your report or any additional topics, Director Consiglio?
Okay. I'm
Oh, September.
I'm handing out something that we're going to be talking about for over the next 4 months, and I want you to get a clear idea on this. And this all ties into our personnel matter and how we are going to do our payroll. Okay, there's different alternatives like what we're doing right now, different options where, you know, we have the librarians with the MLS are getting 4 weeks vacation, and our other full-time people are only getting 2 weeks. And what I wanted to put together to show you the different alternatives and impact, and maybe one of these are not the alternative we'll look at, maybe it'll be some variation, but I think I've covered every possible one. So in any analysis, data analysis or dollar analysis, you're always going to start with a benchmark of what the status quo. So everything on the left is our status quo, and it shows overall we have 15% of our time is unavailable. So 85% of the hours, in which that is all our employees times 1,950 hours annually, less vacation time, sick time, and all of that. It comes out they're here actually 85% of the time to work. So again, the paid time off is a bucket where you don't break out the vacation time and the sick time. It just all goes in one little bucket, and the employee has the choice of how they want to use it. And then option one, for example, 25 days. 25 days is basically the 2 weeks plus the 12 sick days plus 3 personal times. That's how you get to 25 days. The 30 days is another week, and the PTO 35 days is basically what the MLS librarians are getting with the 4 weeks vacation, the 12 sick days, and the three personal time. Now, the reason that I'm looking at this is not at the dollars, but the hours. You know, I do show what the cost is, but what I'm trying to prove is the impact on the total hours on which way we determine on how we're going to pay the employees. Now, I've shaded the area to the right is what my suggestion is right now. And basically what this is we keep the same rules that we have with the 4-week people getting their 4 weeks vacation, and the same thing with the 2 weeks. The only difference is that we eliminate the personal time from it. Now, the impact of that is, again, if you see on the bottom right-hand corner, it's 405 hours. Now, if you look on the bottom, the negative will show how many more hours that are involved. You could see option 4 with everybody getting 22, that we would have to make up 855 work hours. So under what I'm recommending, we're going to add 405 hours to our work year. Some of the advantages, I could tell you this previously. Prior to November 21st, 2022, everybody in this library was exempt that was full time. On the day that I started, everybody became non-exempt. Basically, there's not much difference between the two, except exempt, you do not get overtime.
Yeah.
Okay, and under the rules, which I have written in the employee manual that will be reviewed by Ann, will show in the definition, everybody here that's full-time should be exempt. Okay, the part-time people should be non-exempt. So, when you're looking at budgets and so forth, now we're a library, and so we're limited with the amount of money that's coming in. So we have to look at what we're doing internally to save money or to create more workable hours. Our staff, I will tell you that I'm confident that they're fully utilized. Okay, but there's going to come a time that we can't afford all this vacation time. I mean, the impact is great. All this vacation and sick time combined together. I mean, very seldom do we go 2 days without someone being sick. Now, we've been able, because everybody's able to do every job, that's beneficial to us. So we've never been shorthanded. That's today. I'm always worried about tomorrow. So I like the paid time off package, especially. Now there's a couple concerns on that, and that's and I haven't been able to get with IMRF, and it's regard with the sick time that's accrued. Under IMRF rules, now I've seen two that it's up to 350 or 450 hours could be accrued by an employee. So if they should have a drastic sickness, they need time off, they have the hours there. Ours nowadays is a little bit different. They're not saved, but they're used. And they're used for whatever. It's their right and it's in their policy. But we have to look at alternatives. I don't want to have to hire people just to make up vacation time and sick time. I don't want to do that, because then we're dealing with taxpayers' money. But this is an impact. In any organization, any business, you try to improve somehow the top line or the bottom line by 5 or 10%, no matter what you do. Here, I can't increase the revenue line, except I do. I will give it an attempt when I meet with. Hopefully, the president and I will meet with the village in the next few months to go over our 5-year plan for where I see where the library needs to go to maintain everything that we're doing. Now, part of it has to do with some of the analysis that I'm doing, and I'll give you an example. We all know how beautiful Eisenhower is. Eisenhower, Norridge, and Harwood Heights have almost as many people living there than us. But for whatever reason, how it started, they have twice the budget. They have twice the people, twice the budget. Okay, all the libraries that are districts have it made, because somehow they were able to accumulate these dollars. I don't know why. I have a couple things to review with Ann after this, because a district has a right to point out that we need X amount of dollars, but within 2 years you have to spend those dollars. So they identify that we're going to do this construction. Now, that doesn't cover, they have a leeway on emergency situations if your roof goes down. But I want to get a better idea of the district library. I am not saying that they're wrong or anything like that, but it gives us an argument saying, if you go back to the last analysis when I talked about that, we're operating at $72 a resident in town compared to libraries with $128 or $200. But at least gives us a benchmark that the village manager and the mayor will see that we do need more money. And again, it goes back to that $22 or $24 million that we get in tax levy, the total village. We're in a situation now. Our roof is, they've come out. They're going to pay for the roof, which is a $200,000 savings to us. I'm worried about the air conditioning now. We spend a lot on maintenance. It's over 20 years. We've been replacing units. So I've asked this week to get a full report on what units, when they were replaced, and where we're exactly at on a long-term plan. I mean, if it's $18,000-$20,000 to replace a unit, we're going to have to figure out how we're going to do it. But replacing 3 at a time is not working, because we have a problem with heat and air conditioning consistently every day here. Okay, and up there, I'll tell you, even you check your air conditioners at home for all the weeds and everything that gets, they have to be cleaned constantly. I mean, we have a maintenance contract on them, but I'm concerned about that. I mean, that's the biggest expense that we could possibly have. There's nothing we could do about the elevator for another 5 years. That would be our second greatest one. So.
All right, so you have this from Mike.
Yeah.
Take a look at it. You have questions, see Mike after the
Right.
meeting or before the next. We'll be talking about this over the next few meetings.
Yeah.
So if you want to learn more about it, see Mike after the meeting. And I encourage you to do so. All right, so moving on from our directors to the building committee, SK. Any update?
There isn't anything to report at this time.
Thank you, SK. That's great. Trustee Narayan. Trustee Belundis, bylaws, goals, policy, personnel committee.
Okay, we're in a meeting, and we need to approve some plans.
So are you saying you want to do a motion to approve the 24-26 summary strategic plan?
Yes.
Okay. Trustee Blunt, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by trustee Narayan.
Any discussion?
Any discussion on that? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Is there also a motion out there to approve the 2025 board meeting calendar?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Trustee Santangelo, seconded by trustee Blunt. Any discussion on that one? All right, all those in favor say aye.
No.
Aye. Any opposed? No, the ayes have it. Trustee Blendus, you making a similar motion for the 24 to 26 strategic plan?
I am.
Awesome. Is there a
I'll second.
second? Seconded by trustee Narayan. Any discussion on that one? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Trustee Blendus, you also making a motion for the 24-25 goals and objectives?
I am pending the legal review.
Any pending legal review on it? I don't think the goals and objectives.
I
don't
wasn't
think-
asked to review that one.
No, that is not a
I can if
policy.
you want me to, but I wasn't
Okay,
asked to.
so
This is the,
this is the goals and objectives.
oh, I'm sorry.
The detailed version.
Yes,
So a motion to accept
Jumped.
the goals and objectives is presented.
yes.
Any second?
I'll second.
Seconded by trustee Santangelo. Any discussion on that? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. The remaining two items on trustee Blendus are information only, correct? The self-evaluation form?
Yes.
Well, the hiring policy, right?
You gonna make a motion on that?
Yes, but that's pending legal review.
So you're motioning to approve the hiring policy pending legal review?
Yes,
Sorry, tabling, that's a good point. So your motion is to table
table.
the
Yes,
hiring policy pending
Right.
legal review?
Yes.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Trustee Santangelo. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes. So the rest, trustee Blendus, or,
The rest are just information. That's the approval of the employee self-evaluation form, staff evaluation form, and the community survey.
and all those provide feedback to the director?
Yes.
Awesome. Anything else from BGPP?
Who's second it? We have second it.
Trustee Santangelo. On the hiring, right? Okay. All right, moving on to Finance Committee. Trustee Fosco.
Have the approval of the 24-25 tax levy.
You're making a motion for the approval of tax levy. Trustee Fosco, do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Monahan.
And we have the approval of the
wait,
secretary's.
hold on.
Wait,
Any
wait.
discussion on that? All right, that one's money, so please call the roll on that one.
Trustee Monahan?
Yes.
Trustee Narayan?
Yes.
Trustee Santangelo?
Yes.
Trustee Melendez, yes. Trustee Fosco?
Yes.
Trustee Pesco?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
And we have the approval of the secretary's report.
A motion for the approval of secretary, second, do I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Monahan. Any discussion on that one? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Anything else for finance, trustee Vasco?
That's it, sir.
All right, for our unfinished business tonight, items A through J are continue to be tabled for legal review and will be reviewed at the next meeting once legal review is complete. As far as new business, all are encouraged to review the distribution of the hostile workplace policy as well as the personal relationship policy to provide feedback to the director for future meetings. I see no reason to go into executive session, so I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by trustee Fosco. Any second?
I'll second.
Trustee Santangelo. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.